BBC 2002.
Your games, your radio.
Your radio.
Your radio. Mike Shaft. And the headlines for this hour. The Queen's Golden Jubilee celebrations come to an end.
Broadcasting over 11 hours a day for 5 months, BBC 2002 Commonwealth Games Radio became a focus for news and views of athletes, organisers and the people of Manchester.
It was such a great day down at Warrington. I tell you, I cannot get over how great the weather was. And all things Bajan were there as well. There was the food. You know, there was a real pig roasting on the fire. A real pig. It was wonderful. There was rum, there was...
With features on the wealth of Commonwealth countries dotted around the globe, listeners gained a new insight into the lives of people normally only featured when victims of famine or war.
I think the station has been unique over the past couple of months because basically we've looked at all the nations in the Commonwealth, all 72 of them.
Talked to Australia, to New Zealand, to Zimbabwe.
But one moment that really stuck out to me was when we contacted someone from the island of Montserrat. Now, a few years ago on that Caribbean island, there was a volcano that rocked the nation basically. But I was almost in tears at one point because he said he lost the graveyard, so, you know, his whole history, all his family.
We were really surprised and delighted that people were proud to be in the Commonwealth.
Norfolk Island!
Even in this day and age, given the history of the Commonwealth, people were very, very happy to identify with the Commonwealth and still think that it had mileage.
The games themselves were deemed a great success, and the BBC's Commonwealth Games radio station kept listeners up to date with athletes visiting the city.
I'll never forget the moment at the City of Manchester Stadium when the women's marathon runners came home. We'd been expecting them for a while. We'd seen their images on the big screens around the stadium. And as they approached the outskirts of the stadium, a huge roar came up from the crowd. And eventually we saw the gold medalist come in and she almost staggered to the finishing line. It was incredible to see her.
I remember asking John Smethurst, he's a local gymnast, when he was on the parallel bars, when they spin round, if he was ever afraid of flicking off into the audience with centrifugal force.
Flicking off into the audience. Yeah. Can I just say, as the presenter of the programme, I think it's quite funny how we've had so many good-looking blokes from Sarada's point of view on the programme. Hardly any women have been interviewed by Sarada at all. Most of them have been men.
It is also interesting how many athletes have actually been really willing to speak to Sarada, where they've kind of said to us, no, we ain't got time. Suddenly they find time for her. She has that aura.
I have interviewed some women as well. Yeah. This is like a video character assassination, this is.
Come on, Harry, you've been very quiet about it.
I am a serious journalist.
Well, in life nothing's perfect, and yes, our resources were limited.
I don't think our studio's an adequate size. In the first couple of months, if you would have been in our studio, it was so hot. It was like unbelievable. It must have been about 35 degrees in there. We were sweating, and I always used to feel really embarrassed because I'd be sweating loads, and like a guest would come in and stink. And Chris used to have his shoes off all the time, which is why he started wearing sandals. But even then, his feet stank.
And there's the truth.
I think by and large we were a slick, professional, happening radio station and always delivered the goods.
There was a moment when I was standing in for Phil on Deep Undercover when I was interviewing one of the volunteers, and I'd been told to ask her about being the pump room supervisor. Unfortunately, she was the print room supervisor.
Some of my biggest mistakes have been with actually not knowing who the hell I'm interviewing.
I'm always the one who wants to kind of stay out a bit later than everybody else, and then, you know, roll in the morning at 10 to 9 when we have to do our trail with Mike Shaft at breakfast. And my voice sometimes, it just sounds like I'm a wolf barking, because it's like, it's still continuing, and I'm like, so on the show today, and Mike Shaft always notices. He'll be like, Jesse, were you out last night? And I'm like, how can you tell, Mike?
My goodness. Comes to Manchester, the party comes to you.
Your games, your radio.
Have me running down the corridor. No, we've got to look like we're more organised. We're not doing it as last minute. You can have me walking quick.
BBC 2002
Travel news.
OK, for the final time in the programme this afternoon, here is Melissa Wong with the travel.
Well, yes, this is a very final on the roads in and around Manchester.
We had the one studio that was live most of the time, and so people couldn't get in there to do what they needed to do.
Mo Molin's been on, Jack Straw's been on. But we've also had really great, interesting, normal people like Beryl Wood, who knits sweaters for penguins.
Right.
She does!
Michael, tell us what you've got out of the last 5 months.
A job.
It's 5:33, and he's here, the man of mystery, Michael.
Ay, ay, ay.
How are you doing?
Etc.
Etc. Etc.
Angie Greaves, the presenter, keeps referring back to it. We had a Queen's Jubilee special, and somebody brought up the fact that Tom Jones was going to be playing the Queen's Jubilee Gala, and I said, oh, well, does that mean the Queen's going to take her knickers off and throw them at him? Which, of course, Angie couldn't do the rest of the show.
I've actually got a bit of a reputation on the station for having lots of my interviewees flirt with me. Various soap stars have got a little bit too friendly, but I think I've managed to handle them quite well, and I always play the dumb card, and if not, then I just have to be pretty firm with them, because it's purely professional after all.
Have you been chatted up during your 5 months here?
Yeah, quite a few times, which has been good.
And how do you cope with that?
Go out with them.
This is Phil Hilton on my left-hand side. He's very calm and very easygoing and very smooth to listen to.
Right. Does he
I
love you! Does he pull the girls, do you think?
I think he'd like to think he does.
The Turks and Caicos tried and they tried and they tried, and they somehow got hold of my telephone number and left a message on my voicemail. I wish I could play it now. And like the guys singing on it, oh Jessie, I love you, and they were doing a rap and everything on BBC 2002, like, yo Jessie, we love you.
There is, of course, the legend.
Oh, are you?
What's that? The legendary tale of Chris taking his trousers off in my flat. Do you know, the whole time I've been working on BBC 2002, I've not been chatted up at all. Sometimes the traffic comes in at the very last minute and I am busy rewriting my script to get that gold medal to get to the studio.
And for the penultimate time this morning, we wish a warm welcome back to Sharon.
Good morning.
Right, what have you got for us?
Right, Mike. Well, there are still problems on the M60 in the clockwise direction between...
A lot of people have said to me, gosh, you've got a posh voice. Now, I don't reckon I speak posh at all.
Well, the pictures are just coming in again from Munich, and I have to say, you know, lots of empty seats in that stadium, girl. Lots of empty seats.
Is it still raining?
Nothing like Manchester.
Oh, yeah.
No, look at that. Nothing like Manchester.
There's nobody there.
Oh, honestly.
Gosh.
Bring the games to Manchester is what I say.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sharon. We'll have a final roundup from you in half an hour.
One of my highlights has been co-presenting the commentary of the closing ceremony. I wouldn't have believed that I was capable of that. To see them come together to make the figure of a man like that lying in the middle of the field, it was a really moving moment. I think it was something that touched everyone.
I am going to be pressing the final button. I think it's going to be very sad.
It's very disappointing. I think we've built something here that's very special. We've had a lot of fun, we played great music, and we've brought information to people, which is the job of radio, in my humble opinion.
This is the most fun I've ever had working for BBC.
Everyone will just knock in at the last minute and pull together something and produce something amazing.
As they say, I feel like I've been rode hard and put away wet.
I think we've all learnt a lot. I also think I've regressed in some ways because I've actually...
I'll just miss having these friendly faces that I've got so used to over the months not being there.
We've had a lot of calls, particularly from volunteers who've been listening, drivers during the games, who have been really, really upset, to be honest, about the station closing down.
Good luck, Melbourne, for 2006!
Friday, the 9th of August 2002 was a sad day as the final fader was closed and the station left to its memories.
Set the scene.
And all the tracks a stage of strobe and flash and rainbow hologram, of human balloons and dream coats cut from the cloth of music. The plumes of carnival and costume and elsewhere and other world are here on the doorstep. There are tales to tell and lessons to be learnt about how far a smile can sail in the river of a face, about the flesh and skill and bones that make the human body capable of any word you wish, about making a language of strangers, about now and next time and promise.